So that is, you know, in a nutshell, the process of one page. Now, of course, there are generally 22 pages of those going through each month. So, you know, the average turnaround on a comic book is something like 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, which is why schedules have to be so far in advance. You know, generally when I'm writing, it's, you know, there's a good 3 or 4 months before it's ready for going to the printer, just to allow enough time, which is why everything works quite a long way in advance in the comics industry. One last little stage, there's Nick's cover for the issue. And the cover, I always feel, is one of the single most important bits of any comic book, because that's what's going to make it stand out on the rack. And in this case, you know, sort of the spotlights, we always wanted a strong full figure of the main character. But here, you know, Nick has seeded the eventual appearance of the Dinobots, you know, but could quite easily be real prehistoric beasts as well at that point. So, you know, it's a nice sort of teasing cover. And again, Josh does his magic with the colours on that. So that's really the basic of your comic page. And at all stages, you know, we're talking to each other. I mean, it's always useful when I'm working with a more UK-based artist, because, you know, we can just pick up the phone to each other a little bit more easily. But, you know, now we have Skype, it's very easy as well to keep in touch across the world. But, you know, I mean, I always think of comics as a very collaborative process. Even though I'll write a full script and it's quite locked in, you know, I always welcome ideas and feedback from the artist. And often, you know, especially working with Nick, like I say, who's got a very sort of good sense of the story as well as the art, you know, we've changed things out on the go, you know, especially with Spotlight Hardhead. We did a lot of changing on just the staging of some of that, just because Nick had some great ideas on, you know, how it would work on the page. You know, even that sometimes means extra work for him, because he'll introduce extra panels. But, you know, he just can see the storytelling much clearer than I. So that's pretty much the sort of the general process. I mean, anybody got any questions on the process at this stage before we move on? Yeah.
For other series?
For the main IDW universe? Yeah. I don't know what their plans are, to be perfectly honest, for Spotlights. You know, I kind of hope they do Spotlights again, because I had the best fun with the Spotlights, and they're really good, the Spotlights, as a kind of, you know, a test of your writing ability. It's so easy now to fall into the trap of thinking, you know, you've got 6 issues to tell a story. You don't have to worry too much about, you know, what goes into each issue. You know, and so the story can sometimes get a little decompressed. But with the Spotlights, everything had to happen in one issue in 22 pages. You know, you had to get a whole story, a whole character, you know, detailed, and a lot introduced. And we were trying to tie these into the main story as well. So they were quite a test sometimes, the Spotlights. You know, and I would say sometimes they were more successful than others. Shockwave, strangely, is possibly still regarded as one of the favourites. And in a way, it was a shame, because we hit the bar, we set the bar so high with Shockwave that, you know, some of the others maybe just weren't as, you know, would have been fine otherwise, but everybody thought, oh, brilliant. And now the next one, oh, maybe that's not as good. But it's just a shame in a way that we led with Shockwave, but, you know, it is what it is.
What did you next?
Well, I mean, I think I'm not even there yet in my mental process. You know, I would need IDW to say we're going to do some Spotlights, and then I need to know, you know, where they are in the ongoing, where they are in all the books before, and, you know, where the characters are. So, you know, at the moment, I just don't know. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's characters I'd love to do a Spotlight on still, but at the moment, it depends where their story is.